Hi, this is Karen. I'm with inspiredbygraham.com. Welcome to my channel. So last night on my Facebook Live, we created this card here. Super, super cute card with this really fun dog here. I've got some retired baker's twine on here, but on the card today, I'll be using the linen thread. But super fun card, and I thought my YouTube subscribers would also like to see how I created the card. It does come with a matching envelope where I use the designer series paper, which is Playful Pets, on the envelope flap, and I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, so the stamp set I chose to work with is a cling stamp set, so it's red rubber. And I'm going to be using Cherished Friend because dogs are our friends, right? Okay, so that's a stamp set. The designer series paper is called Playful Pets, and it has lots of bright colors here, but also some dark earthy colors as well. Just some fun little scripts and some playful designs there. Okay, so let's get started creating the card. Get all my supplies here. I've got my medium white whisper envelope. I'm working with a card base here that is basic black, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. I've already pre-scored it here, but we're just going to fold it over, and we're going to use our bone folder and just burnish that crease down so our card will lay down flat for us. Okay, the next piece we have is the piece of that Playful Pets, and it's 2 by 5.5. So I like to go with 2s, 3s, or 4s just to maximize the designer series paper. Today I'm going to be using my craft mat here. I've got the new Stampin' Seal. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add our adhesive. Now, if the adhesive doesn't start on the Stampin' Seal, just forward it a little bit until you get it right onto there. And then my trick is here, just a light touch. And you don't need to use a lot of adhesive anymore because this adhesive is so super sticky. And what small amount you lay down on the paper it's going to stick. So great new adhesive that we have, and it's going to work great with all of my craft fair items too that I make. So I'm just going to lay this down on the front of the card, and it's going to open up like this. Now you can see that I have just a little bit of that designer series paper off to the edge there, and that kind of bothers me. So I'm just going to take my paper snips, and I'm just going to trim that right down so it's equal to the card base. See that you can see the little scraps that just came off. All right, so we're done with that. Let me just shake that off. Okay, so our card's coming together. The next thing we want to do is I'm going to be working with a piece of Flirty Flamingo, and that's one of the colors in the card's designer series paper. This is cut 2.5 by 2.5, and I'm going to layer a whisper white piece that's 2.25 by 2.25. So again, I'm just going to take the Stampin' Seal, and I like to flick it because I feel like it will, it does break off a lot easier, and I have less problems with it. Okay, so that's that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take another piece of the Playful Pets. This is cut 3 by 4. Again, I'm maximizing my cuts with the designer series paper, and I'm just going to run my adhesive on all 4 sides there. And now I'm going to bring the card back in, and I'm going to lay this on the front, and I've got about 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom, and I want to make sure it's somewhat centered right over that strip we've already added on there. So it's coming together right now. Now the next thing is real simple. We're just going to add some more adhesive. Again, start that adhesive if it doesn't start for you, and flick it off. I'm trying to train my brain to flick it off. I'm not used to doing that. All right, so now when I layer this on, I'm looking at the top and the bottom, the left and the right. Okay, so I make sure that that is centered amongst all 4 corners. And I like the diamond pattern that just laying your card instead of, or normal squares. Try using a diamond pattern. A little bit of adhesive there. and it's just another card layout for you. Okay, so now let's get some stamping done because it's another humid day here in Vermont, and it'll take a little bit for especially the real red ink to dry. So I'm using the Cherished Fend, and I've got a stitch label rectangle that I've already pre-die cut, and this one measures 7/8 of an inch by 2 7/8. And I'm just stamping that down with real red ink. And again, real red ink is very super juicy for me, so I gotta let that dry for just a little bit. That's all the stamping we're gonna be doing with the card. So while that's drying, actually I need a piece of Whisper White. I forgot to grab that out, so let me quickly find one here. All right, I'm gonna need my paper trimmer. Sorry about that. But you can see our new paper trimmer here. My inside panel is going to be 4 inches. And I'm going to rotate it, and it's going to be 5 1/4. All right, that didn't take too long. All right, so now what we're going to do is I've got this strip of the Playful Pets Designer Series paper. I'm just going to adhere it down to the bottom. You can use whatever side you wish, but I'm going to be using that script just because that's what I'm using on the envelope flap, the design, and on the front of the card. So everything's tying together. So now I'm just adhering this strip to the inside Whisper White panel that's cut 4 by 5 1/4. Just adds a little bit to the inside of the card. And again, I'm going to be using, see, I forgot to flick it. So that's why it didn't advance. No, flick. Okay. All right, so now we're going to add this to the inside panel. Just like this, 1/4 inch border on all 4 sides. And the reason why I don't put adhesive on the other 3 sides is because the adhesive is super strong and you don't need to do that. Your panel's going to stay in there. All right, so now we're going to design the focal point, which is the sentiment, along with the dog. Let me just show you here once again. So I'm going to use a dog builder punch to punch out a dog and a couple hearts too. So let's bring that in. The punch looks like this. I've got the little heart there, and there's the dog image. I've got a scrap of basic black, and that matches the card base. And I'm just going to simply punch out the dog. Looks like this, and here's the little heart. Now I'm not going to use a black heart. I'll save that for another project. But I'm going to use this dog, and I'm going to take a little scrap. See, this is just a little scrap. Find these work the best. I'm going to punch out 3 little hearts for the card, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those in a little bit. So I'm just going to punch those out. Okay. And since I don't want to lose these things, I'm going to actually put them on the glue dots right now. So I'm just going to add these to my strip of glue dots. Just place them on there just like this. Okay, that's just so I won't lose them. Okay, so now let's bring our card back in the picture. Let's see, here it is. And I wanted to let you know that on the I don't know if you can see it or not, probably not, but this is embossed with a subtle embossing folder. And the subtle embossing folder is a carryover from last year's catalog, which I'm super excited about. But I've already pre-cut. I've got a couple here in my little Wish It, Dream It, Do It box here. So I'm going to make a couple of these cards, but that's what it looks like. Super fun. And you can, since it's reversible, there's a mirror image. You can create and, you know, put your dog whatever pattern you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to actually have them go this way, just like the card example. All right, so what we want to do is we want to add some glue dots to the back side of the dog. And I've just got some scrap, or not glue dots, dimensionals. Sorry about that. Just the larger dimensionals here. These dimensionals, it's my offer for the month of July. If you place an order, I think it's $30 or $35 and above. I should have looked at that ahead of time. I'll send you in the month of August a full pack of dimensionals. I use these all the time. And these are the mini dimensionals here. Okay. And you could put one on his tail. So I'm going to do that. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a very small snip of the dimensional edge and add it to the tail. And it's a little bit too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim this off. Now we do sell black, the color black dimensionals, so that would be another way you could use black dimensionals on the basic black cardstock. All right, so I'm just using my thumbnail just to press the back side of the dimensionals so we can peel off the adhesive backing so much easier. You can also use your take your pick tool to peel them off as well, but I find this is a little bit quicker and I have a little bit more control. And I gotta be super careful that I don't want to peel off that tail there because it's very thin. All right, so let's bring our card back in the picture. Now I'm just gonna place the dog right there. Let's give that dog a name. Let's call him I don't know. Let's call him Margaret or Maggie for short. Okay, so I'm just going to use my stamp and seal, and I'm going to just place it right now. And I'm looking that I have equal distance, which I don't, because you can see the designer series paper. Again, this label is 2 7/8, so you're going to see a little bit of that designer series paper on the left and the right side. Okay, I've got it where I want it. I'm going to press it down. Now this dog, I want to bring him down a little bit more. That's why I didn't secure him 100%. And I'm going to put him over that edge of the stitched rectangle just a little bit. And now I'm going to give him a good press. So now I'm going to bring in these little Flirty Flamingo hearts that we punched out using the dog builder punch. Isn't that super cute? I just love that. We're going to add one there, and we're going to add one down here, and I'm going to add one like down in this area too. Okay, now to finish it off, I'm going to use the red rhinestones. These are the basic jewels, and they come in red, kind of look like cherry cobbler or real red. So I'm just going to use the take your pick tool, and I'm going to use a clay side, and I'm just going to add those little rhinestones right to the center of the heart down there. And now on the inside I added one here too, so let me just punch one out real quick. Just use the opposite side of that scrap and my glue dot. And we'll add this little heart up in the corner there, and we'll add another one of those red rhinestones right to the center of it. And the final touch is going to be that baker's twine. So I've already done this ahead of time. The tails are super long, and I always make them longer than I should. That way I can trim them down once the bow is secured to the card front. So I just added the bow to a glue dot. Now I'm going to pinch the glue dot so it gets trapped underneath the knot of that bow. And now I'm just going to figure out where I want to add this bow, which will be right about there. And now we definitely need to cut down the tails there, probably about 1/2 inch at least. I'm just going to use my paper snips and come up here and give it a nice little snip. So there's our cute, super cute card. But we're not finished yet, right? We need to bring our silicone mat in one more time. And I've got a piece of that Playful Pets Designer Series paper, and I was going to show you how to create your envelope flap. So to do it, you'll just need your Stampin' Seal and run it right in next to the crease of the envelope flap and along the edge. Oops, it didn't come out, sorry. I don't think I had it angled correctly. All right, so we're just gonna go like this and flick, run it real slow and flick and then down. And I always put a little bit right there in the middle of that flap just in case. And see how super sticky this stuff is? And this is only the Stampin' Seal. There's the Stampin' Seal Plus that is actually even stickier. All right, so now I'm just going to layer this right up to the edge of the fold line and then fold it over like that. And now we're going to take our paper snips and we're just going to trim this off. Just around that corner and around the envelope. And then just around this other corner here. And snip it off down there. Okay. So there's our sweet envelope that matches our card. So let's just bring it in again. So here's the envelope, here's the card, and there's the matching paper that's on the flap and on the front of the card as well, and also on the inside panel too. And then here's the card that I made last night with the envelope flap and just some little retired, I think it's cherry cobbler in Whisper White Baker's Twine, but you can see the linen thread looks awesome. So I just love how this card came together. For any of the Stampin' Up! Supplies, you can visit my website at inspiredbygram.com. And don't forget, I've got a paper share going that is going to be expiring at midnight on July 19th. So this is a great way to get your hands on some designer series paper that gives you just an example of the designer series paper our catalog has to offer. And don't forget about my hostess code here, and make sure you enter that when you do place your order at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.